everybody, and welcome to episode 73 of All About African Violets. All About African Violets is musically sponsored by Ted Yoder. You can hear and purchase his wonderful music on his website at tedyoder.com. It is also available from iTunes. Hi everybody, come on into my sunroom. Welcome, I'm glad you're here. Wow, what a week it's been for me. I do have some treasure for you today, and I'll tell you about it in just a moment. But first, I'm so glad that so many of you enjoyed the interview with Dr. Jeff Smith last week. I was kind of saving that one, and it was all about the species, and the more that I learn about them and the more that I attempt to grow them myself, the more I want to grow them. They're so interesting. I will pass along your questions and to Dr. Jeff, and I will share his answers with you in the coming weeks. I'm kind of winging it today. I don't have my piece of paper. That's because we're going to go right into tips and treasures because, as I mentioned, I have treasure for you. And in fact, I'm going to have some treasure for you every week for a while because I'm a maniac. I went to Nebraska last weekend. I went for a day. I mean, what my cousins call a flying trip. Literally, I flew to Nebraska to visit with Joyce and Kent Stork. And it was just a wonderful, wonderful time, and I'm going to share quite a bit of it with you guys in the coming days. I know that I said I would share my African Violet magazine and the articles and things from that today, but this is going to be another longer than normal episode because I looked at splitting up what you're going to see. The first piece of footage that you're going to see is a tour of their florist shop and Kent's growing area, and part of Joyce's growing area as well. So I tried to find a way to split it, but it just didn't split. So we're going to have a long episode, so get your tea or your coffee and sit back and relax and take a look. Hi everybody, I am in Fremont, Nebraska, and I'm at Kent's Flowers. And that might not ring a bell for you until I say that I'm with Joyce and Kent Stork, and this is their flower shop. Well, this is the sign for their flower shop. And actually, there's their minivan and there's the flower shop. Come on, let's go in. I just opened the door and look how cool it is in here. It looks like Thanksgiving. And look, there's Joyce.
Hi. Welcome.
Thank you. Oh, you guys look. And look, here's the back of the Christmas window. Oh, you can't really see it. Oh, there, now you can see it. And it's a tree, but in the night, it looks like an angel. It's very, very cool.
We're not sure it's done yet.
Oh, it's really, oh, look, and there's Kent.
Hello.
Hello. Oh, he's calm. He's calm. And guys, see, if you look up on that wall, you see a whole lot of rosettes up there and a Christmas wreath. So we're here today, and I'm so excited to be here with my friends and in their shop because you're seeing it for the first time that I'm seeing it. So, oh, look at that cool angel up there. Isn't she pretty? Wow. So this is we're in the florist. Look, there in the back, there's all the like floristy stuff and things that you do. And, but we're gonna...
Mess.
And the mess, that's all right. Look, there's a fireplace even. This is a very cool shop.
Oh, well.
You could just hang out here. Oh, look at this lantern. Awesome. All right, well, guys, I know you just wanted to get a good look here, and I know you're more interested in violets, maybe, some of you. So we're going to do some of that. So I'll be back shortly. Oh, but before I go, look who's here. Apollo!
The Wonder Dog.
The Wonder Dog. Hi, Apollo. He's the best boy. Yes. Yeah. All right. We'll be back. Well, you guys here, I'm here with Joyce, and I know you can't see me, but you can see Joyce, and that's the most important thing. So the first thing that we're going to do today, what we're going to do for today is have a tour of Kent's Flowers. There's Kent. Again. So let's have the tour. Where are we going?
Okay, let's go back into the workroom
Okay.
because we are a working flower shop. The flower shop is definitely the part that pays the bills.
Okay.
And then the violets are the gravy on top. and
Okay.
The special part. So it's our rose cooler and our stack of buckets that have been cleaned and bleached and they're all drying. And so this is, you know, our delivery area right in here where things are waiting to go out tomorrow.
Okay.
And then behind you here is this huge stash of Christmas stuff because we're right in the season now trying to get that stuff
Transition.
out. It's a transition. So that window got done yesterday so that, you know, it'd be ready for you.
Yeah.
So, look a little special. So, and this is my work table. And now you can see the very first hint that we actually are more about violets than probably flowers in our heart. So this is ICU. Now I don't have too many in ICU down here right now because this shelf is a little bit empty, but you can see those order tags that are on. Those are plants that customers bring into us.
Oh.
And I actually think I learn more from those plants because I'm growing plants that people have been growing in very amateur situations.
Yeah.
And that's where I learned a lot of those tricks about like where the stem goes in the soil so that
Okay.
the leaves, you know, grow so it grows straight.
Cool.
It's repotting those kinds of plants that are a mess because if I were just repotting
Sure.
the ones that Kent gives me,
Yeah.
there's not many
They're going to look
problems.
perfect already.
Right, because he's been
Because Kent grew 'em.
but he's been grooming it in good light and all of, you know, the plants they bring me aren't. And so I've also learned about diseases and once in a while we get in trouble, but that's why they're bagged up.
Okay.
So if a plant is really completely bagged up, I can protect it and isolate it even though it's right in with everything else. So,
Okay.
and then those are my trailers up top and we'll look at maybe one or two of those a little bit later on. And
Okay.
some species are in there too. So it's just kind
Cool.
of my little messy. And then there's one tag back there, and that's dead plants. And I just left the tag back there because when she finally comes in, I'll be able to tell her what happened exactly
Oh.
to her plants.
I like that. Look at all the little churches up there
Yeah.
for Christmas.
It's
Those
all
are cute.
It's all teleflorist stuff because we're a teleflorist. And that's my stash of all my artificials and silks back in there.
Cool.
Yep. And this is Kent's work table, which is pretty much looking like it normally does. Kind of a little pile. But Kent does some grand work there. And then back in here is our flower cooler.
Nearly empty at the end of the week.
Nearly empty. We'll restock it tomorrow.
Wow. Where do you have to go to get it restocked?
We have flowers that get shipped in from South Dakota. And
Okay.
we've got wholesalers in Omaha that we do stuff with.
Cool.
And then this is our extra work table, but right now we don't have an extra designer that works at that
It's a
table.
place to pile stuff.
So yeah, it's where we stack the things we have to do. And that's our order board back there.
Look at all those little butterflies up there.
Yes, there's butterflies up there. There's stuff stashed in every corner. And we know exactly where it is.
I don't know. I just tried to zoom in. I don't know. That probably wasn't a good idea. This
Who
camera
knows?
doesn't always want to refocus itself. I better
Well,
not do that.
Okay.
Okay. So now,
All right. And then back in here is our office.
Oh,
You know,
oh. She can edit
This is
that
sort
out.
of- This is sort of important because back here in the office, this is the computer where I'm sitting at most of the time
when you're on Facebook,
when I'm on Facebook during the day.
or when you're emailing with me,
That's right.
and Kent is going, Joyce, get out here.
There's work to be done.
There's work to be done.
See, he's
So,
mad.
Yes,
And he quit emailing.
yes, and then that's a stash of all my, Violet magazines and my references and my last judging school, and I've just got all manner of things
Cool.
in there. So
Cool.
yes, it's our Violet corner. So
Well, this is
Yes.
awesome, but I know. Oh, look, Christmas bows.
Christmas
Yippee!
bows waiting.
I know there's a second floor here.
Oh, there's the second floor. Okay,
Are we going there
we're
now?
gonna go up there now.
All right. Is that more of Kent's domain up there?
Yes, it is more Kent's domain.
Come on, Kent. We're going upstairs.
I have to get coffee.
Okay. All right. Oh, look at this cute little one. Look at that. So pretty.
Order for a customer. And Apollo goes everywhere I go.
Apollo. Here we go. Up the stairs. Yep, we're all going. Oh, look at all these baths.
Yes, peace lilies. People send a lot of them.
And look at all these rosettes, you guys. Have you ever seen so many tricolors? You know the tricolor means best in show. And not only are they on this side of me, they're on this side of me too.
And then there's a few more that we haven't put up
Laying
yet.
around and
They're
there's some in
everywhere.
boxes.
Awesome. Okay.
This is what we sometimes call violet heaven because it's in our balcony.
Wow. Guys, I have never been here. This is the first time I've been here too, and I know the light on your faces is now going to be a little dark because it's going to pick up the lights from the shelves. Which one of you wants to explain this all? This is all wondrous.
Well, for employees, so they know what they can sell and what they can't sell, I always have one shelf here of plants that's available for customers who come in
Okay.
and want a blooming plant.
And we'll probably use one of those to judge later on.
Okay. Okay.
So,
And it's actually, this is about half the violets that we would normally have this time of year.
Why is that?
With the problems that we had
A couple years ago?
a couple of years
So
ago,
still
it
coming
takes
back?
a long time to come back. And the economy having been what it has, we've cut back on help in the shop, so that doesn't allow us much time. But a lot of it, I didn't have a lot of really healthy violets a year ago to put leaves down from.
Got it. Got
And
it.
so that translates
To
later
this time.
on, this time
Yeah.
not having so many.
Absolutely.
I've got way more leaves put down now. So next year,
Woohoo!
I'll have a lot of violets again.
Okay.
So let's take you over. Let's start with where the violets start up here.
Okay.
So, look at this. This is beautiful.
Look at your potting bench.
My body
Your potting bench is beautiful.
This is beautiful.
It is really phenomenal.
It usually looks a lot like his desk did downstairs.
Worse.
But it's beautiful.
Worse.
So, yeah, so that's, keeps his potting mix here. This is where he does all his work. When he puts leaves together, this is how he starts leaves.
Well, actually, that's not where I start.
Okay.
He's changed his tune.
All right.
I put several leaves together in a pot, and they go into clear sweater boxes.
So, or what I would use as a domed tray.
Yes.
What my
Yeah,
viewers usually
yeah.
see at my house is a domed tray.
We've got these.
Okay.
And they usually stay in this until at least the babies start poking through. And I
And
see
so-
in this box they have.
Each one of these pots has 3 or 4 leaves of the same
Of the
variety.
Same variety.
Okay.
Yes. And each pot, you want to grab one of the white ones from over there?
Like that one?
Yeah, and show the label. It gets the name of the variety and the date when the leaf got
Rebel's
leaves
chili
got put down.
peppers. Okay. And that was August 27th. And you can see that there are some babies happening.
Right.
And there's the blossom
And is that the chili
for
pepper?
chili peppers.
Ooh. Okay.
It's fun because look how pristine these leaves are. And these, when you start rooting them, look
Yeah,
how they
they start to
immediately
get-
started getting that aging look.
Yeah.
But they're perfectly healthy and
Yeah.
they're making their babies.
Awesome.
So after they've gone in the box, then they go just onto the wicking trays.
And so these are the wicking trays. So guys, these are just the same as what you see at my house, and except where at my house I have some egg crate, what they call egg crate, which is actually from fluorescent ceiling light fixtures.
Right.
You can get it at a big box store.
And
but
this
this
is-
is wire.
This is called 2x2 hardware cloth. And it's not real commonly seen, but it's sturdy. It's kind of like chicken wire,
Okay.
but it's really sturdy, and you can see on these trays where you can really hold up a lot of plants. They suspend beautifully.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And it's not as hard to keep clean
Okay.
because the it's square plastic
Yeah.
stuff is always a little grimier. So anyway, so we do have lots of leaves coming and lots
So
of
when
things
that happens,
Doesn't look good.
that happens. Let's talk about that. So the leaf
No.
is just because that happens
The
to
leaf
me too.
is just wearing out.
And all you have to do is take
Take it
away,
off.
because the babies now can grow.
They'll
on their
grow.
own.
growing. Yeah. Yeah, it's always nice when the mother leaf stays longer because she'll make more. But
And for you guys, being that you sell plants, you're as
More is
commercial,
important.
more is important. For me, I'm
Yeah.
always interested in one
yeah.
good one. So,
Well, and that's one of the real differences
Mm-hmm.
that, I see people posting pictures on Facebook of plants that they got at the convention, and they'll have these big beautiful plants because they've let them grow and do stuff. When I get new varieties in, I'm constantly stripping off rows of leaves to put them down to root because I'm here to produce more of them.
Right.
That's
Right?
So-
Okay.
And you can see already Kent is
So they-
constantly.
They kind of go along like this, and they get
Yeah.
bigger and bigger, yeah?
Well, and they're just. It's kind of just when he stacks them in because he stacks them in where there's room.
Okay.
And he's constantly grooming. You'll notice that as you watch Kent around the room.
I'm
It's
going
like
to set my glasses on the table.
he is forever pinching leaves. So, okay, so once they are big enough on the clumps here to be separated,
Okay.
then the next stage is into
Pot City.
bags here.
Sorry.
Pot City. So then
Short
they
stop.
go into bags like that, and you can see that all along here.
Okay, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Over here, they're growing now, and they're not domed. They're
Right.
just growing.
Correct.
But now, why are you putting them back in a bag or
Because the
domed?
roots were
So-
disturbed.
Okay.
and I don't have to water them.
Right.
Okay.
I put them in the trays and they can stay in there 6 weeks or so, and we don't have to do anything to them.
Okay. Because I know that when I pot up babies, I usually do put them back in the dome tray. But at my house, it's usually only about 3 or 4 days. Then I open the dome and start to let air in, and they got to sink or swim for me.
See, and we keep them completely closed up, and you can see how drippy they are on
Yeah.
the inside. But they're really happy.
Well, and what I do is I put extra plant stakes
To
around
keep it
so
up
that it
so it doesn't fall down.
Sink.
doesn't just
Yeah.
completely.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Cool.
and when they start to mature and start to, inside you can see these are still reaching up. They really have a baby look.
Yeah.
But when they start to mature and lay flat like this, then they get labeled and set out here in the
Well-
open air.
Basically what I do though, and I'll just show you, when a tray is getting ready, this one isn't quite, but and then I just let the tray sit with the bag open
Okay.
for 2, 3, 4 days, whatever.
So like I do with the
Yeah.
dome, I just sort of
Right.
like stick a Sharpie under the two ends of it and let it open up.
Yep.
Okay.
And the
Yep.
whole reason for doing that is that those roots haven't been pulling moisture. And so those roots are very inexperienced.
Okay.
And as you let that humidity change gradually, then that water starts pulling through their roots. And I always imagine that little chill that goes through that little plant.
probably
as that
like,
water pulls
"Woo,
up.
okay."
Woo. and then they're really starting to function. And once those roots are fully functional, then they can come out into the drier air.
Okay.
Although
Uh-oh.
It's not much drier air around here.
It
It's
just fell
always
right there.
humid. So, yep, we have.
Minor malfunction. Technical difficulty. There we go.
Yes,
That was quickly
we're
fixed.
relit. We're relit.
Okay.
So, and then once they go from here and they get bigger, then Kent moves them up into these pots.
So guys, see, look, these are the little square, like two
2 and a quarter.
2 and a quarters.
Which they're not making anymore.
Really, that's bothersome, isn't it?
Yes. And that's a
it is.
constant problem these days as companies that make growing supplies keep buying each other out and they keep discontinuing things.
Okay.
And this summer when I found this pot, which I was happy to find because the old ones I used aren't there anymore,
Yeah.
and my supplier said, well, we only have 2 cases left in the warehouse.
So did you get them both?
I took both of them.
Good.
Yeah.
Wow.
When I run out of these, then I'm going to have to find another.
So then they go from the 2 and a quarter, and you go right to
Right
a
up to
4
the
inch
4 inch
'Cause
because
there's-
it's a time factor.
here. Okay.
I do not have time to shift bit by bit into bigger pots.
Well, we've been reading and hearing some about like going from like a 2 and a quarter, or I use those little solo cups. So going from that to a 3 inch and then a 4 inch. And I understand that based on your requirements and what you're doing here, that you would go to a 4 inch. But what's your thought on that for the average grower?
I think for the average grower, for the hobbyist, the plants are going to grow faster and it's better for the plants. It's just simply I don't have time.
So better and faster to use the interim 3-inch pot and then move up. But that makes total sense.
But when you're a commercial grower and growing a bigger volume,
Right.
you're limited.
Okay.
And we sort of cope with the changes because you can see that these have all been dry grown. All of these are being hand watered at this stage.
Okay.
And we water by filling the tray, putting water in the tray, allowing it to soak up, and then taking the excess off within a half hour or so. And so with these, there's a lot of soil around here, more soil than probably should be.
Okay.
But because we're hand watering, we can control the moisture better,
Okay.
so that they're not getting too soggy.
Yeah,
Because
they
that's one of the
dry out a little bit. They just
Yeah.
get watered once a week.
Well, and they just feel like they're the perfect, right? And
Yeah.
they're like a damp sponge. So I can see a couple of wicks. So do you guys use wicks and
Yes.
everything?
Yes.
And do
they're
you?
wicked and ready for when the time comes that when the wick will be functioning. But for
Okay.
right now, these are just waiting and being hand watered.
Now,
And the reason that I put them in the trays like this, I haven't had as much problem with the new fertilizer we're using. But I used to have problems moving into the 4-inch pot that I would get that fertilizer buildup in the crown.
yeah.
And I found that by doing this, letting them dry out, since we water them once a week, that I didn't have the problem.
Okay.
And it's just, the plants seem to adjust better
Okay.
going into the 4-inch pots.
Now, do you have a layer of coarse perlite in the bottom of these
No.
4-inch pots? You just
No.
go. It's
just
just
use
mix
it-
all the
yeah.
way.
We're going to stop
Okay.
here a second and look at our dirt barrel.
Okay.
Is there any dirt in the
No.
barrel? Well, we'll maybe
Who have we had who has
to
had time
mix
to
dirt.
mix
That's
dirt?
true.
You guys, you're
On
funny.
On the way by, there's this little stack of plaques. I'm going to dust it off.
Here, get it in the light, because otherwise we can't see it. There we go.
There it is. This is back in 1984 when Kent won for the best new St. Paulia introduction. And
Ooh.
there's a stack of more little things up here.
Yeah. Very
And
cool.
There's more.
Very
more.
cool.
Yes.
Okay, and from there,
Okay.
then they go onto these matted trays.
Okay, so I was going to ask about that because I saw when we were over in the very first side of the growing area, you've got the wire with water in the trays, but right across from there you have the fabric like this, which is kind of spongy.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
carpet padding.
Carpet padding.
That's what we use.
Do you wash it when it gets grody or do you toss it?
I have an employee wash it.
That is the great growing secret of a commercial grower. The things that nobody really likes to do, we have people hired to do.
I just took my sweater off, you guys. Sorry for the wobbly camera, but you know what? It's warm up here with all these plants. It's
It is
really
warm.
awesome.
This is a warm balcony.
It's actually,
Thank you.
I have maybe one heavy sweater, because coming to work here, it's always warm and humid in
Yeah.
the wintertime, and I don't need
Don't need
the
that.
warm clothes. So
So these are here on the matting, but right over here, they're back on the wire. What's the difference?
these are the more mature ones.
Okay, so
you
this
can
is the
see
next step.
difference. Yeah, they go from that. They're small. They're small in the.
Okay, let me
4-inch
turn around,
pots.
guys. Let's look at this
They're
progression
small
again.
In the 4-inch pot.
So this is the first time they were in the 4-inch, and then once they're big enough, they come over here, and they're on
capillary matting.
capillary matting, and
With-
then
And you still have a lot of control over moisture in capillary matting.
okay.
So it's not the
They-
full-fledged wicking
Yeah.
where there's that constant water. It's still a little bit of a dry period in between, and it just allows them to grow without getting the problems with rot.
Okay, and then from here,
And they go.
we go back over here, and then they're wicked, and this is like a giant reservoir.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, guys, take a look. Look at that. What's that one?
Oh,
I don't have my glasses on.
It's a great one.
that is L.E. Procrosnia creolca.
Oh, this is the one you told me about
This-
at National.
This
is
is
such a
one.
gorgeous
This
thing.
is our favorite plant that
I'm
we
gonna
brought
turn
back
it so
from
you can
Russia.
see this beautiful big flower that's right here.
Oh, wow. You guys look at that.
Blossom cluster.
And they're really standing up well.
Yes. I am trying to build up a big supply of them to sell at the convention in Nashville.
Is that Blue Dragon?
That is
Kind
Inner
of.
Strength.
Inner Strength.
Yes,
That's nice.
that's a new one from Lions this year. And that one is Cajun's Royal Knockout.
One of Belinda's plants. I've got some of those coming along too. I'm so excited about them.
There's
This is the shelf that
Clean
when
the dead
customers
blooms
come,
off the,
they always want to come
garnet
in here and
paper.
buy these.
Yeah.
Yep, those are singles.
That's an old Granger.
Which one is this that Joyce is working on?
That's Garnet Elf.
Oh, that's Garnet Elf.
Yeah,
And it is
I love that old variety.
This looks like,
Tatanka.
I was just going to say, this looks like Tatanka. Mine has just started up again. Look at these.
And what happens then, as we sell plants from there, or if I, dump a plant that's not doing real well, whatever, it's a constant shifting where I'm pulling the plants from the matted trays and filling in the spaces here. Or,
Okay.
like right now, we've got empty shelves. When those plants have really gotten to take off and grow, then I'll turn lights on and fill those shelves
Okay.
again.
And then I want to stop and look at these also, just to point out, Kent is constantly grooming up here. Every time he's up here, if he sees a leaf that's wrong, a blossom that's wrong, he is grooming. And you can see these are relatively compact plants, but it's just a constant thing up here that he's always snapping a leaf there or doing that and messing with the plants and watching what's going on.
Well, since we do have some blossoms here, please tell us what they are, because I know people are going to ask me, what was that one on that shelf?
This one is Love Struck. That's a new one from Linda Lyon this
Okay.
year.
And this one?
That's one of Valkyrie. It's one of Brandon Erickson's
Oh! And this
plants.
pink
That's
baby?
Cajun's Freckle Face Kid.
Another one of Belinda's. That's beautiful.
That's Cajun's Storm Watch.
Just getting ready
the
to
blooms
bloom.
are taking forever to open up on that, so I'm hoping it's a long-lasting one.
What's this one?
Also, well,
Yeah, isn't
Just-
that thing gorgeous?
Wait, you got to tell us what
that's
this one
Buckeye
is.
Seductress.
Oh.
And can't tell him what the stuff is on the leaves.
Okay, we had problems in here with foliar thrips.
Right.
And whenever I see a plant that I am suspicious could have some developing again, I take some of the Marathon granules and I moisten the leaf, spray a little water on, and I just sprinkle a few of the Marathon granules on the leaf.
No kidding.
And it takes care of the thrips that are on the leaf.
Wow. I never knew that.
And
You
I
could do
can
that
I
with
can
that.
spot treat
Okay.
a plant
Okay.
that way.
Awesome.
They're nasty critters, and so
Yeah.
you just gotta do what you gotta do to handle them.
Wow.
These plants on this shelf are ones that I have set aside for shows next spring.
Wow.
I see some buds starting to come out on them, and they need to be
Go ahead and do that.
disbudded.
Okay. I'll let you do it. I'd reach my hand in like I do at home, but these are your show plants, and I would not want to
And you
pick
know
that
what
up.
the deal is? Every employee in the store knows, including Joyce, that I am not to touch anything that's on this shelf where the show plants are. It's either a plant that's pregnant with a seed pod, or it's a show plant, and the only people that get to touch it, the only person that gets to touch it is Kent himself.
Okay.
Oh, that rubber band broke.
As closer we get to show, he'll do most of the water tray filling in this space too.
This is a pot of seeds planted, and there's nothing that's come up. The seed pod only lasted about 3 months on the plant, and I feel safer when they last for 4 months, so they may or may not grow.
How long ago did you pot that one?
2 weeks.
2 weeks? So
Wow.
It's getting close to when it's either show or go.
So this shelf and this shelf?
Right. These are all-
These are all the
and
show
these
plants,
are ones
potential
that
show
he's
plants.
actively disbudding, actively working on to push them to large. Kent always works very hard on some and then tries to have starter plants coming behind at the right time to sell. That's
Right.
quite a thing to organize.
Well, that's important because when people see a plant at the show, don't they often come up and say, "I'd like to buy one like
Exactly.
that," and where can I get
Exactly.
that?
And so coordinating that is a big deal.
Okay.
And
These are seedlings.
Your seedlings?
Yes.
Oh, you
yes.
guys, this is exciting.
This is one that has a really interesting coloring. It's got kind of like coral eyebrows
Yeah.
on those upper petals. I don't know, I've had one seedling that opened up from this batch that had single blossoms that dropped. So I won't know for a while if that one's going to drop or not, but it's kind of
Okay.
interesting. The foliage isn't quite as nice. There's some in here that have really nice shaping foliage and others that are real iffy, but I give most of them a chance at least to come into bloom.
we did a little silly Facebook thing where we threw away a violet seedling
Yeah.
the last week or so, and this is the same batch of seedlings. And
Oh,
Kent
right.
is
I watched
starting-
that. Okay.
Kent's starting to see some of the seedlings that he really is
Now.
hoping to.
Down on the end of that middle shelf are seedlings that came into bloom earlier from that same batch, and I moved them up into 4-inch pots to give them a chance to grow out. Some of them are a little bland. I also got some from this cross that were plain purples, plain
Just a
single
solid,
reds,
yeah.
just not much.
Those are gone.
This is one that I'm really hoping grows nicely.
Yeah.
Because it's semi-double, and this is from a cross between Optimera My Love and Smooch Me.
I was just gonna say
And
that.
I think I've got the parent plants in bloom.
Okay, here, this is a really good question while you go get those. Because here I see the tuft of the semi-double, but here I don't. So, but is the little pointy thing, does that count?
No, that's the pistil.
That's the pistil, that's what I thought. That's like a part, an
That's a
important part.
Right, so, there's
Okay.
Mom and Dad.
Mom and Dad. Oh, yeah.
I had the first seedling that opened up was a gorgeous pansy that kind of had slightly greenish tips, and it had beautiful rich purple centers, a big, really intense, and I was really excited. And then about 2 weeks later the blossoms started dropping.
Just
They were
fell
just
off.
single, so the plant got thrown away.
So look at those two plants just a little bit closer. Kent absolutely loves the foliage on Smooch Me. That
Yeah, who
dark,
doesn't love the foliage
that
on
dark
Smooch Me?
overlaying foliage, and it's broad, and the
My love, I love the blossoms, but the foliage doesn't shape as nicely.
and so
So,
as he's looking at this particular one, you can really see the Smooch Me foliage.
yeah, it's darker,
It's that
color.
certainly, and it's
foliage, and yet it's got some of that My Love blossom characteristic with that darker center.
Okay.
So it's not necessarily a better plant yet, but it's one
But
that
it's on the
deserves
way.
I'm
watching.
Yeah.
watching.
okay,
Yeah, and it may be more crossing down the line to get where you want to go.
okay.
But it means you have to be ruthless because there's an awful lot along the way that's probably not going to be.
Okay.
If we get 2 hybrids, 3 hybrids out of this cross, that would be a lot. Kent's pretty careful about what he releases. And
Okay.
You don't need stuff you have to replace later. Yes,
Say hi, Apollo.
Hi, Apollo. You're just always happy up in Mom's arms.
He's such a good dog.
So, anyway, so that's
So, Kent, can you tell us what these are? Because I know, again, I'm going to get a question. What's this lovely?
That is Garnet Halo. It's an old Gordon Boone.
Yes, I was growing it for a
plant.
while.
hmm
And this one?
That's PA Longtin.
I'm not familiar with
It's a
that.
Canadian hybrid. It's not
Oh.
registered. But it was one that Joyce picked up for me actually at the Detroit convention.
Cool.
And that is Optimara Ever Glory.
Ah.
I'm touching.
Don't you're not supposed to be touching these plants,
you tip
Joyce. Get out of there.
Would you tip it so that Annie can see the flower? Because they'll want to see the flower.
Yeah, it's pretty.
That is a wonderful show plant, and I'm hoping that Optimara is going to be getting it registered. Is that mildew on there?
This is typical.
Because
Jen.
it makes,
We'll be treating it very shortly,
yeah,
just in case.
it could just be some spray residue.
This is
But
mildew time of year.
this is a plant that in a 4-inch pot won best in class at the Missouri Valley Council show.
Well, it's in at
And
least a 5 now.
It's in a
isn't it?
5-inch pot now, and I'm growing it out for,
Okay.
I don't know if it will be the Omaha Club show next year or if it'll go to the convention in Nashville.
Okay.
If they get it registered, I would like to have it in my
Optimara
Holt
collection.
Camp collection,
Yeah.
yes, in the convention.
Very cool.
So,
Did you build these shelves?
yes, I built them.
Yay.
And then we moved them.
And then we moved from when we had the shop over in Arlington over here. And then I said I'd rather torch the place than ever have
Then
to
move
move
them
all
again.
that stuff
I mean, because
again.
yeah, they don't break down. They're big solid shelves.
And now we can't torch the place, Kent, because you have it on camera.
Yeah. No, actually, everything got knocked apart and marked with numbers.
Oh, okay. So
And
you
then-
could take
and
them
then-
apart.
Put back together here.
These I'm just
it was-
these are some of the sweater boxes
Pots-
that you
pots
showed
of
us with
leaf
leaves that are
cuttings.
And
coming.
then way up high here, all over the place, we have these
There's
boxes.
boxes stashed everywhere.
And the boxes are the ones that we know are really good for traveling. Going off to convention.
Yes, well, I have at least one from you that I use every time I go.
Yeah,
so.
they're really,
I
really
have
handy.
another
Yeah.
thing to show you.
Oh, good.
Oh, and these two variegated plants here are both Buckeye Delightful. And it's got a big star-shaped light pink blossom, and the foliage is just gorgeous.
Are you about to take off that flower?
No,
No. Why are you leaving that flower on?
because I don't feel like it right now.
Okay. That's good.
I only have
Once
one
in a
Buckeye
while,
right
I
now.
like to let it bloom.
Yeah, I do the
open
same
up.
thing. I do the same thing. Every now and again, I'll
Okay.
just let something bloom.
In here, I have a plant that I have cross-pollinated. This is Nessus Viking Maiden, and I have crossed it with the Love Struck that we looked at earlier. And I use a string tag and put down the parentage and the date that the cross is made.
And so the string tag is on the stem
It's on
where
the stem.
where the seed pod is.
Right,
So the
right.
seed pod's under that tag, right?
Well, I mean, these faded blossoms,
Both of
there's,
those,
yeah,
okay.
they're forming.
Okay.
But Jeff Smith once told me that the pollen grows more easily down into the ovary, and you have more chance of success getting a seed pod to form when it's rainy weather, if you've got extra humidity.
Okay.
So I have started, when I make a cross
Make
onto a
'em in a
plant, I
dome?
put it inside the
Okay.
plastic where there's extra, the humidity's held around
Okay.
it.
Cool.
So,
Well, I see some things that aren't violets over here. Like right here, like primulinas.
hide this one. Yes, I like primulinas. And I've got kind of an assortment of them in here. One of the things that was really interesting to me this year, I've got these plants of, I've gone blank on the name. It's the one that gets such rosy pink foliage. Primulina patina. And they're showing a lot of green right now. The hairs are still really red. But once we found our pH problem and started treating the water this year to bring the pH down, these started growing greener.
Awesome.
Everybody had always asked Kent, how
How I
did you
got
get
them
so
to be
pink?
so pink.
And he didn't have any idea, but
When
we think it
like
was the high pH.
the foliage
The
pink.
whole color, yes.
Because I get
Yeah,
a lot of
have
pink
real-
in my variegation on my violets.
But this is different.
Okay.
This is different. I'm experimenting now where I'm giving them untreated water,
Oh, okay.
giving them water with a higher pH to see if that makes them get pinker again.
Okay.
So
Because they
we'll
were
see what
really-
happens.
They were thriving at that higher pH.
Okay.
And so
Well, I think there's one shelf over there that I saw that we didn't see yet.
then there's
So
the oddity shelf.
the oddity shelf, is that what that is?
Oh. Yeah, it's kind of where things get shoved. I've got some semi-minis. I've got some more primulinas.
Primulina's getting propagated. That's easy to say. Primulina's in propagation.
And
Columnia.
Columnia.
Mm-hmm.
And this is our
And an Escananthus.
Escananthus.
airport Escananthus.
Did you liberate that from the airport?
Just a tiny little piece.
I did that once at the health club. And it grew for a little while, but then it didn't make it.
It needed pruning. It had to be pinched back so that it would grow bushier.
Yeah. And it's been growing for a while, and so some of this growth is coming from the higher pH issues. And it's really nice to me to see some of this new cutting coming.
Well, it's variegated
And
on that
it's
piece.
showing that really beautiful variegation.
Wow.
Yeah. This is actually, I think, a pretty common Escananthus hybrid, and I'm sure that, you know, people that know Escananthus would look at that variegation and say, oh yeah, that's the one that, you know, gets used a lot and just
And
plant
what's
seed.
this little purpley violet?
Little Inca, I think.
You know,
Optimar Little
I
Inca.
still love just a plain old purpley violet like
I do
this.
too.
I
Yeah.
love that. It's just so beautiful. Sorry, Apollo.
Kent likes to grow, especially some of the miniature Optimaras, because he can enter them in the collection classic convention.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Well, sometimes you do.
No. I have never entered a miniature collection at
No.
convention.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
No.
It's always standards that you've entered.
It's always standards.
Well, he has a few miniatures that he enters mainly in collections.
Just not at National.
No.
All right. Well, this is great. It's so cool to see all this. I think that I really love seeing it. It's so great. Guys, can you imagine just like being here and seeing all this and playing with it and working on it? What's that?
Optimara Hawaii
I was
2.
just gonna. I've got Optimara Hawaii, and that looks very similar. Oh, it's nice. And here's an orchid and a Christmas cactus. I have Christmas cactuses at my house, and there's a really pretty fantasy over here, and it's rare for you to hear me say a pretty fantasy because
Yeah.
I don't normally
That's
grow
fun,
them.
Abigail.
I-
Which means tightrope walker.
Very
It's a
cool.
Beautiful plant.
I grew that in the past.
Actually, it means to walk on it.
To walk on a
To walk
tightrope.
on a tightrope.
So it's funambule. I've heard it pronounced funambule. I've heard nobody knows how
Well,
it's funambule.
it's just whatever you call
Whatever
it.
you can figure out.
A
Yeah.
funambulist is one who walks on a
Ah.
tightrope. Yes.
Did
Well-
we mention that Kent is an English major?
Well, yes, he did look up the etymology of the word wake last night when we
Yes,
were in
he
the
did.
car on the way
He
home.
did.
So that makes total sense to me. So this looks like a smooch me.
Yes.
And can you just tell us what some of the other ones are? I can ID most of
this
yours.
is Singing the Blues.
That's yours, I know.
Optimara Michelle 2.
Okay.
This is Optimara My Joy.
Mm-hmm.
This is Rockin' Robin, which makes a beautiful
Oh,
show
that is
plant.
nice.
I
The corally
really,
pink.
really like that.
Yeah.
Optimara Chagall, which makes a great show plant. This is not a really good plant. That is Wisdom, which also makes a good show plant.
Mine
but
died.
Kent, stop
That
and
was so sad.
tell them why this is not a really good plant.
that's one I thought we might work with when we
let's
do
do
our
that when we
judging later.
do our judging.
Okay.
Okay. That's a good one.
That is Tsarskaya Dosh. It is a Ukrainian hybrid Tsar's daughter.
Can
Oh.
we pull that out from under the lights? Because I can see that in the camera. You can't really see the color on that very well. If we get it out from under the light, you'll be able to see that better. Because it's beautiful.
There we go. There, I think it should. I hope it's in focus. I don't know. I left my glasses over on the potting
It
bench.
looks in focus to me.
Okay.
And that's another Chagall back in the corner.
Okay.
And this is an Optimar, my joy, that isn't quite blooming true.
Yeah, no. Because that's my joy, right? Didn't you say that this
Yes.
is my joy?
Yeah.
So here's this one. And here's this one.
So many of the plants that we sell off of this shelf are going to go to people that are just going to be growing them as gifts.
Okay.
You know, they're just, and the variety name is not important. And so anything that sports and isn't really a desirable sport goes over on the shelf.
Okay.
It's pet quality in some cases.
Got
I
it.
have an interesting plant to show you over here.
Okay.
The plant itself is kind of a mess right now. It's a gorgeous blossom. This is Jan Minuet. I, for the longest time, was trying to grow this around the edges of the shelves because I didn't think it liked much light. And then finally I read somewhere, I think it was on Facebook this summer, where people were talking about giving it a lot of light, and the plant has finally started doing much better
Oh, great.
when I put it in the middle of the shelf.
Awesome.
This one's a little beat up right now.
Facebook is just great. It's
Isn't
like,
it?
It's like going to club and having 1,000 people that are all there at the same time, and you're bound to have somebody who knows something about
I
this
know.
variety.
It's awesome.
It's neat. What's the green edged one over there, Kent? Did we look at
We
that one?
talked about
Yeah,
that
we
one already.
did. We caught that one, I think. We caught most of them.
So, yeah.
Well,
This
this
is not a time of year when I have lots of stuff blooming.
No, but it's really wonderful to see all of this. So, and this has been a great tour. Thank you, you guys. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you,
Yes.
Apollo.
There's Paula.
All right, we'll be right back. All right, guys, I told you we'd be right back because there is one more piece of the tour that we didn't see yet, and that's Joyce's piece of the tour. Because it's dark. And we're looking at the.
We're changing
Wait, I
lights.
have to.
Well,
We're
it's gonna
changing
get
light. Hang on.
complicated.
Okay, now here. Let me get on this side of you, because
Okay.
if the light's on you, then we
Okay.
can see you. There, that's excellent.
Now we're going to go toward the Petrocosmias that I have found out will not bloom unless you get them cold and a little dry and in lower light.
Oh.
And so I have a grand experiment going on up here in my angel, maybe it's a tree, maybe it's not, window.
The angel window. I
Yes.
like it. I'm going with the angel.
And so I have my little Petrocosmias lined up here. This window leaks air in the winter months, and it's a cold window,
It faces north.
and it faces north, so the light's
Not so much
very
light.
good.
Okay.
And they're naturally a little bit drier because the air is blowing down on that wall, and so they dry up. So
Okay.
over here in the window are
Okay.
my little Petrocosmias. You see them?
Hang on. There they are. Look at them, you guys. And they're blooming.
And they're blooming. This one I put in a refrigerator, one of the Rose refrigerator back
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
and left it in there for 48 hours. It would have been about 12 weeks ago. And then brought it out and put it in the window, and it had not bloomed for years, and it came into bloom. And you can see it's not a very big plant, and that's because I had to groom off the outside leaves that were damaged by that cold shock.
Okay.
But it's blooming. And this is a Lexi,
Okay.
and this one is Keystone Bantam. And I'm seeing leaves kind of starting to come up, which that leaf is kind of starting to perch up, which normally means it's somewhere
Something's
under
gonna
there.
bloom.
There's something changing. Yep, there
And
it is.
the one, let's see if we can see it. Okay. And the one that's in bloom, what's that one, Joyce?
Oh, this one is shorten and bread.
Oh, that's yours. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I've got more down there too.
Okay.
But,
on
yeah,
the other side?
on the
Let's
other
go
side.
try to go over there.
And these are Petrocosmia Paul Kroll.
Plus, Paul Crow. Oh, name for Paul.
Yeah, I had to have it just because it was Paul Kroll.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Oh, I have a really good question. Here's a cyclamen.
Uh-huh.
But so, I've always read that you should never have cyclamens near African violets because of the dreaded cyclamen mite. So that doesn't really hold the same truth for a Petrocosmia. We will see. Oh, okay.
But cyclamen might make cyclamen sick. So if you have a healthy cyclamen, you probably don't have cyclamen mite.
Okay. Okay.
Having a violet with cyclamen mite in your collection would be every bit as dangerous
Oh,
as
yeah.
having a sick cyclamen.
Okay. Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, very
So
cool.
That's Petrocosmia.
All right. Well, wow, I sure like those baskets. Please do not let me go home with any.
You don't have room.
I have so many baskets already in the basement, but those are way nicer than any that I have. I mean, yeah.
We're good.
Oh man, those are awesome.
We like to think there's quality.
And the red lanterns. Oh, you guys, this is dangerous for me to be in this shop. I would like be buying things all the time. All right. Thank you, Joyce.
Yes. Thank you. Bye.
I forgot to mention that was so much ambient noise. I'm sorry. You know what? You may notice it sometimes if you look at what's on the stands. Fluorescent tubes hum, and it's kind of a hum that it's kind of like a white noise hum that generally you don't notice. But not only was there a lot of fluorescent lighting in the shop, there are two coolers, big coolers, one in the front of the shop and one in the back. And the motors that keep those things cool, they make noise as well. And I meant to tell you that before you saw the footage. But it wasn't quite so bad upstairs, so I hope that you were able to enjoy it anyway. I sure hope that you did, like I said, enjoy it, because I sure enjoyed being able to share it with you. I had such a good time last weekend. Well, it's time to take a look at what's on the stands. Now, it's been a couple weeks since you've seen things, and some things are looking a little different. I'll be right back. Hi everybody, it's time to take a look at what's on the stands. And I think you can see some interesting things this week. This is EK Sky Azure, which is the American translation of its name. And I just want to hold it here so that you can actually see it. And do you see right by my wrist, there's a little leaf down there that's much smaller than these other leaves. And in fact, if I turn it, you'll see another one there and another one there. Those are what we cut, and actually two more right here as well. Immature leaves, and they need to come off. So I just wanted you to see that here. You can maybe see it a little better now that I set it down, now that you know what you're looking at. And this is very normal. This is part of what you do when you're grooming. And we'll walk around. Here's House of Amani trying to bloom. And here is Teneri's Royal Blue Trailer. And it's got all these big leaves, and then you can see underneath, let me move it this way, you see all the little new crowns trying to come out there? What needs to happen here is for all these big leaves to come off. So hang on for 1 second, and I'll pull them off. Wow! But what you can see here now is that there is space. Actually, this one could probably go too. Oops. We want it, all the leaves on a trailer on each crown should all be similar in size. So that's kind of what you have to do. Second shelf, Powwow had a culture break. And I did lose a leaf here, and it will fill back in once I repot this plant. But I'm going to have to do some work on this. And I'm not quite sure what happened. It probably happened while I was away in Scotland, and it's just, isn't too happy. But it'll be all right. There's all the leaves I took off of the Teneri plant. And here is Optimara Hawaii. You know what? I've never had Fisherman's Paradise grow this way for me, where it's just reaching up all the time. It's very interesting. Let's walk back around and take one more quick look over here. And this one is touching here, so it needs to be shifted. Some leaves can come off this one too. Actually, it needs a turn. Aha!
trying to bloom. Forget it. All right, let's go take a look in the basement. Well, here we are in the basement, and I think you'll notice that things look a little different. I kind of cleared off this second shelf and moved everything up here because most of these plantlets are now eventually going to head upstairs. I don't think they're going to stay down here in the basement. This is the domed tray, guys. You can see that everything here now is really ready to be potted on. And I had lifted the dome tray, as you heard Joyce talk about, the roots needing to actually start working. I had lifted that so that they could get started, and it was long enough, and they are doing great. So got my work cut out for me. You've heard me say that before. And this is the last dome tray. And in fact, I think it's about very close to time for me to open this one up too. These are mostly species plants. Let's go walk over and take a look. Kind of see it over there to the Streptocarpus shelf. Well, it's looking crowded over here. There's Party Pinafore blooming, and here is Heartland's White Gold blooming, and Salmon Sunset getting ready to bloom, and finally, do you see it? There's gonna be a bloom on Midnight Flame, finally. But I gotta tell you, Dale's Polar Berry, nothing going on in the blooming category at all. I mean, it's lovely. The foliage is beautiful. It's you can see the underside there. It's very unique with the edging, the red edging on the leaves, but it's not blooming, and I don't know why. Anyway, let's go take a look upstairs in the sunroom. Well, here we are in the sunroom, and you can see that there are more plants up here. These are a lot of the plantlets that I brought up from the basement here. Here's Champagne Pink, Granger's Peach Frost, Yellowstone. Here is the one little thing I came home with from Joyce and Kent, and it's a start of Columnia. Moonlight Lantern, I think is what it's called. I have it written down. Second shelf. Everybody kind of doing their thing here, and I'm going to show you something very exciting when we walk around here. Let's go back up here. Here is Grape Glory blooming like mad again. And you just saw me take the leaves off of that Teneri trailer. I did the same thing with this one. This is one of Dr. Jeff's hybrids. It's called Yesterday's Valentine. And I took the majority of the big leaves off of this one a couple days ago. Again, to kind of encourage the rest of the smaller crowns to get cracking and start growing. So let's come down here and let's look at the Orbicularis, not the Orbicularis, the Eschinanthus opconicus. Look, it's getting ready to bloom. Those are the calyxes that it starts with. At least I think that's what they are, and I'm very excited about it. So I was going to repot this, but now I'm going to leave it alone till it does its thing. Wow, it's so exciting. Jersey Snowflakes. Bob's Wagga Wagga needs some grooming. Buckeye Celebrity Status. Optimara, Michigan. Everything's looking pretty good here. Let's go take a quick look at the big box violet. Well, here it is. And it's looking a little raggedy. I know that I must repot it. I just have never been able to get the time to do it. However, I think my major travels are over for the rest of the year. Oh, they are just lightened up a little. Well, maybe not. I think my travels are over for the rest of the year, and I'm very hopeful that I can get to some of this stuff. Well, that's the look at what's on the stands today, and I'll be right back. Okay, I know you guys were freaking out when I took all the leaves off of the trailer. But really, that's what you have to do. A trailer, to show a trailer, it must have at least 3 crowns, and those 3 crowns should all be relatively the same size. So, for example, I've got Rob's Wagga Wagga right here,
And as you can see, well, I need to put my glasses on so that I can see. You can see, if you look at this, there are a couple of larger leaves, and like this one, that are sort of haloing. Things that need to come off, or damaged leaves. Here's one right here, you know, that needs to come off. And so you kind of have to be vigilant about this stuff. That one, that's kind of wonky looking. But one of the things I want you to notice is that almost all the leaves on this trailer, even though it's a little raggedy, most of them are relatively the same size. And that's what's important, and for a trailer to give it the opportunity so that everything starts to grow at about the same rate. Those big spread out leaves that I took off Tenary's Royal Blue trailer, those were the original leaves from the original sprout. So they were the oldest leaves, and they were the longest and the largest. And the new, the crowns that are trying to sprout and sucker out off the sides there, they need the opportunity to grow and catch up. So that's really something to remember as you're grooming your trailers, particularly if they're new. So I hope that was kind of a tip in the wrong place, but you know, that's how it goes. Well, it's time to get the bail money ready, but there are no events listed on the AVSA website until February. So I don't have anything to share with you right now in that area, but it is time to keep moving forward, and I didn't want to talk too long because of the long footage that you saw from Nebraska today. So we'll move forward, and next week I will bring you some more footage from my time with Joyce and Kent, and I think you'll enjoy that as well. I hope that I thank you for being with me today, and I hope that you have a wonderful week to come. I hope your days are filled with all the things you love. Good growing. I'll see you next time.